Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sima and today we're going to be ranking the characters of Arcane based on how badly I want them to throw me through a wall. I've done other videos in this series and I will link the playlist up in the little corner box, and I will specifically also do another box that links to the first video I did in this series, which was about Hades, because that one will have all of my normal disclaimers about how this is not that serious. I do not endorse throwing people in real life or being thrown in real life. It's probably dangerous and you probably will break some bones. And also the way I'm talking about these characters is generally not sexual unless I like specify that the character in question I'm like ranking a particular way because I think they're hot. But generally speaking, I'm literally mostly just looking at like physical, down to the question of like, could this character physically throw me into something and would it successfully like happen and would I have a good time? Like that's generally it. Don't think too deeply about it. This is mostly a joke. And yeah, so I looked at the character list for Arcane, and usually I try to do every single character unless there's like just too many. With this one, it was more like, I usually try to cap it around 30. So if there's more than 30 characters, I'll start like crossing them out. I think with Arcane, there was like a few more than 30. So like I could have reasonably probably done all of them, but there was just like 5 or 6 characters where I could not, for the, like I would look, like I Googled them, I looked at the photos of their characters and I could not recall like anything about them in the plot. And the thing with Arcane is because all the character designs are so good, I couldn't even just go off of like character design because like they all like looked good. So I couldn't just be like, oh well, this person looks cool, so I'll rank them higher than this other person I can't remember because they look less cool, because like they just all looked cool to me. So I just like, if I could not recall like your moment in the plot, I just like cut it out. I'm sorry. And so we brought it down to 25 characters. Also, I usually try in this video to sort of like theme myself a little bit based on what I'm talking about. Sometimes I forget, but I try. So my makeup, as you can see, I have blue on one eye, red on the other. Although the red looks kind of more pink. It's very hard to get like true red on the eyes. I feel like all the reds I have like skew pink, which is very frustrating. But I tried to do one blue and one red for Vi and Jinx. And then I also like did my nails blue and red. So that's my theme. And then I just didn't like, I didn't want to pick one color for my shirt. Like I didn't want to pick, I don't have a lot of blue. And I don't want to wear a red hoodie because I feel like that would skew me towards Vi, and I'm actually more of a Jinx girl. So I just picked this shirt because it's mostly purple. It has like bits of blue and pink as well, but I mostly did it because it was purple, and when you mix red and blue, you get purple. Cool. I'm just gonna hop right into this. So, also, this one was like way harder than usual, because usually it's like the characters that I do think are hot. Also just like generally, not always, but generally, I can like convincingly put them pretty high on this list in terms of throwing. I don't always put them at 1. Actually, I try not to usually put them at 1 because I don't want the integrity of the list to be skewed by the fact that I like think a certain character is hot. So I actually try to put the characters that I think are really hot not at 1, but like usually they'll find their way in the top 5. I actually don't think the one character on the show that's like my like hot boy character is not actually in the top 5. And one of my favorite characters is, but I think she's barely top 5 to be honest with you. So this one was hard because I really had to just like look and be like, okay, based on the parameters of the question, how am I answering this? Like it was a lot harder than these usually are for me. Usually I can like race through it, but I have to like think about this one, and I still don't feel like super sure about my ranking. Like usually I am like, okay, this is my ranking. If you disagree, that's fine, but I'm not changing it. With this, it's like I could probably persuade it to move people up or down. So if you want to like start a debate in the comments about it, let's go. All right, cool. With that very long intro preamble out of the way, let's start with number 25, which is Ren. So Ren is like the little girl of Marcus, I believe, the Enforcer, and like she's like adorable. She's so sweet. She's so cute. She's also like literally a child. Like she's like a toddler. She's the size of like a puppy that I was babysitting the other week. Like she's like looks like she can't be more than 30 pounds. So like there's no conceivable way that she could ever possibly throw me. Like it wouldn't happen. It's also not something I would ask of a child, even if she like was like a Hulk child that like suddenly had like the strength to like hurl like something like twice her weight or even more than that, like through a wall. It just wouldn't happen. I'm sorry, it wouldn't happen. So like she's cute, she's adorable, she's sweet. She's number 25 because she's a child, and children are little like baby weaklings, you know? They don't have strength. They don't have like, just like she's like a capital child, not capital. I'm confusing the Hunger Games and Arcane, but she's like from Piltover, right? So it's not like even she has to like go through struggles the way like the like Undercity kids did, you know? Like she's just like, she lived in a little privileged like room and she like weighs like 20 pounds. Like she's not throwing shit. I'm sorry, Ren. 24 is Heimerdinger. I feel like theoretically probably because he like knows magic and shit, there's maybe some way he could conceivably like magic his way into throwing me, but like just looking at him physically, he's like a raccoon, you know? Like he's raccoon sized. I don't want him to throw me, and like frankly I look at him and like, not even because that's disrespectful to raccoons, because I think raccoons are really cute, but I look at Heimerdinger and I just like, I want to kick him like a football. Like it's so mean. Perhaps that indicates something is wrong with me, but I just look at him and I'm like, you make me angry, because your whole optics, like his whole politics in the whole show like pissed me off. I was like, you are like complacent and scared and like, a big weenie. Screw you. But also he's He's just a little fucking little guy. He can't do shit. He can't throw me. He can't throw anything. And he won't even use his magic to do things. So it's just like, what point do you serve to me, sir? So that's number 24. Number 23 is, I don't know how you pronounce her name. It's Xena Telus. That's Jace's mom, I'm pretty sure. We don't see her very much. I think we see her in like one scene, maybe two. She's just like an older lady. Like, I don't know. She doesn't seem like she's particularly jacked. And she seems older and like just like kind of fragile, like emotionally, spiritually, physically. So like I think she would be more successful than the literal child and the raccoon guy, but like I don't see that journey for her or for me. I don't think she would enjoy it. Wouldn't enjoy it. I don't want her to do it. I just think like we are both better served in our lives by that interaction like not happening. So yeah, it's just like no thank you so much. We're just gonna like speed run through a bunch of parents because number 22 is Cassandra Kiermann, which is Caitlyn's mom. Can I be really honest with you? I don't like any of the Kiermanns. I think Cassandra's just like the most irritating because she's like the most like stuck up uppity of all of them. Why is my dog whimpering? Are you mad that I don't like the Kiermanns? Is that the issue here? I'm so sorry. Honestly, she's a shepherd, so like no wonder she would like suck it up to like the cop family. No, I'm sorry. No. This is an anti-enforcer household, Luna. And also like just anti-rich people, you know? Like the whole council in Piltover, like screw all of those people. Redistribute your wealth and get the fuck out. Hi, Luna. Hi, honey. I know, you're so cute. I'm so sorry. I have to like do my designated petting the dog time. So yeah, Cassandra Kiermann, she just seemed like very stuck up. I feel like she's maybe a little bit more like physically capable than like Jace's mom, just cause like she grew up like probably with more food and like the ability to like work out and stuff and not just like I don't know, she just seems like she could like work on her body and her physical health a little bit more. So I think she'd be like more physically capable, but I just like don't want her to do it. The vibe is just not there. I think she would think it was a weird request and also not want to do it. And think she's like above it anyway and like tell me to like go find someone else or just like tell me I'm weird and like get me like kicked out of the city or something. So I just like, I don't want that for me or for her. So yeah, moving on. Number 20, what are we, 21? It's Tobias Cameron, which is like Caitlyn's dad. So Caitlyn's dad, like as far as parents in the show go, he seems like pretty chill. He seems like to care about his daughter's well-being and like be a little more accepting of her like doing different things, but he was also like more so than his wife. He was more down to like kick Jace out for like fucking up or whatever. So like again, like they're just stuck up rich people and I don't want it. He's also a man and like not to like gender roles up in this bitch, but like he just seems like physically stronger than his wife. So like that like gives him a leg up. But again, like I don't particularly want it. Nothing about him like entices me to be like flung at a hard surface. I'm just kind of like, I would prefer if we were to meet and have an interaction rather than you picking me up and hurling me like a sack of potatoes. I would just prefer if you just like gave me like enough money to pay off my student loans and then we like never spoke to each other again, you know? Like that is the kind of interaction I want to have with rich people. You give me money to fix my life and then we just never speak again. And then you can like pat yourself on the back for like helping out the community and I can just like have less stress on my shoulders, you know? Like we don't need to do anything physical. We don't have any sort of like, yeah, any interaction beyond that, you know, like we can just like cut it off right there. Number 20 is Alora. Alora's here mostly because like, again, I know she had more of a presence than the other character that I mentioned that I didn't put on this list because I could not remember what they did, but Alora just kind of seemed there. Like she was like, just there to like deliver messages and like be a friend to like Mel. Like I just like didn't connect with her in any way. So like I put her up here because she seems like a little more like she's younger. She probably has more energy than the older adults on this list, but she's like, I just couldn't put her higher because she's like didn't click for me in any way that was significant. So yeah, that's Alora. I think she'd do like a fine job. I just don't know why I would ask her to do it. Number 19 is Sky Young, who I believe is like, if this is who I think it is, I'm pretty sure it's the assistant that was helping Jace and Victor like with their little experiments or whatever. And she, you know, and like on one hand, girl, like I respect you, but like my way of approaching like, okay, here's my thing. If I saw the guy I had a crush on, my hot boy of the, like hot white boy of the month, like doing some fucked up little experiments, girl, I would not go closer. I would not try to stop him. Are you like what is wrong with you? No, I would absolutely just like shut the door, let him do his fucked up little experiments, and then when he comes out looking like slightly more fucked up and slightly unhinged, I would like give him a bowl of soup, pat him on the shoulder, encourage him to do it again, you know? And then that's how you like don't die. Like that's how you do not die. That's how you get your plot armor. Because then you are not, at least not gonna die until it's like he's like too fucked up to come back. And by then you've like had your fill of like he's fucked up and evil now, right? Like it's good shit. You don't do on experiment like 1 or 2. You don't go in there like, no, please, you're hurting yourself, you're changing. You're like, girl, let him do it. Anyway, my point is I respect her because I too had a massive crush on Victor, and like I get it, like I respect her hustle, and like fellow like nerd girls, we gotta stick together. But like just her approach was just not my approach. And again, I don't like, she doesn't come off to me as like particularly like physically capable, so I can't even give her like bonus points for like the bodily strength. She's just as high as she is because I like respect her as a person. I just would have like navigated the Victor situation a little bit differently. Also, I am so sorry if you guys can hear background noise. My dog is like chomping on a bone. She has just decided like she's never gonna be, she used to be so quiet in my videos. She just go like lie down and take a nap, and now she's like, no, I'm gonna bark at you, I'm gonna whine for attention, or I'm gonna start eating bones really loudly. That's her new MO. Let's move on to number 18, which is Syngent. So like Syngent, I just like don't, like he was just like the little scientist dude. Like I don't feel like he had a particularly strong role. I don't know if, the thing with Arcane is I like binged it like in the middle of the night while super sleep deprived over the course of like 2 days, and it all kind of blurred together. And so I can only really remember like the big moments and like the characters that I really, really liked. And then everybody else, even though I know they had like important moments in the show, like kind of blur together. Syngent, it's kind of like, he seems like a fucked up little man. And so I feel like he would find a way to like genetically engineer something super deranged that would make him physically capable of like throwing me like across like 3 football fields or something, and I would probably like definitely die in the process, or like come out on the other side like fundamentally a broken and changed person. Then he would have to like cybernetically engineer like a new skeleton for me internally. Like he would have to do something fucked up to fix the damage that his throw had caused. But like, wouldn't that be kind of fun? Wouldn't that be kind of like interesting? Just like narratively, like I kind of be like, cool, you know, like fun little like season 2 arc for me is like relearning how to use my entire body, which is now made of like Wolverine-esque like metal and shit. That'd be kind of fun. I don't recommend it. I don't think anyone should like seek that out, but if it were to happen to me, I would find it not, I maybe wouldn't be mad, you know? If he like made up for it by making me like super powerful, I'd be like, okay, I forgive you for like shattering every single one of my 206 bones, but you really gotta make up for it, bud. Number 17 is Milo. So the thing with Milo and Clagger actually is I was watching the show and I was like getting really attached to them, and then I was like, don't get attached because I have a feeling these motherfuckers are gonna die. And you know what? They fucking died. I like, yeah, they super died. So the thing with them is I feel like if they had both been for reference, Milo is 17 and Clagger is 16, so I'm just gonna talk about them together. But like, I think if they'd been allowed to grow up and like become adults, they would have been way higher on this list. I think they both would have been like jacked as fuck as adults. And like I think if Milo had like been able to grow into an adult, he would have been like, again, like white boy of the month status, but he just like didn't. He died like as a child or a teen or whatever. I don't actually know how like young they were supposed to be when they were like young, but you know, he died pretty young. So, and he was like a little spindly, like malnourished kid. So I feel like he hypothetically could have done it like decently well, but not as well as he had the potential to do had he been allowed to like grow older. He was a fun character though, so like, that's why he's like solidly middle of the pack. And then Clagger, I'm trying to talk slower because I know I'm talking really fast to get my thoughts out, and I know it's probably very annoying. Sorry. So Clagger, who is number 16, he just ranks like 1 higher than Milo because he just like, even when they were younger, just seemed to have like physically more bulk and strength. And so I feel like, again, had he been allowed to grow old, he probably would have been like kind of like a hulky like big dude, and would have had a lot of muscles. And so he just by sheer like physique one-ups his friend like a little bit. But again, they both died pretty young, so they can't be like higher than 17 and 16 respectively, just because I feel like at the time that they were in the show, it would have been like pretty mediocre as far as throws go. Like, I think they would have been able to do it, it just wouldn't have been like very fun. Like it would have been kind of like a half-hearted, like a toss more than like a throw, you know, like a solid like hurl, which is what I really want. I want it to be like hard enough that like bare minimum you can break through like a wall, you know. It doesn't have to be a very strong wall, but like just some sort of like hard surface needs to be broken for me to consider it like a solid throw. If I like hit the wall and nothing happens and I fall on the ground, it's just like, it's like anticlimactic, you know. Like it's just like, okay, what was all the buildup for? I didn't invite you over here to like not cause property damage. Number 15 is Silko. So again, Silko, like he doesn't seem particularly like physically strong, but he's a fucked up dude. And so I think he would find a way, either like through his own means or he would get somebody else to do it. But I feel like he would like find a way. And then also like not to like daddy issues on main, because I don't actually like have daddy issues, I don't think. I don't, like I have a good relationship with my dad, but I just like, his relationship with Jinx, like I know it's fucked up and like problematic and whatever, but like it like warmed my heart a little bit. So I was kind of just like, I don't know. I feel like the dad energy of the hug before the throw would be kind of nice, but the preamble to that is I would have to get to a space where he thinks of me as a daughter, which might take a while. But if we got to the place where I was like Jinx's sister and like he was like my dad, I think he would like really, if I asked him, I was like sincerely, Dad, please, what I want for you is for you to like pick me up like a sack of potatoes and just like hurl me like through the Undercity, like just demolish a bunch of like shacks in the process. I think he would try, because he does seem like the type of guy that would do anything for his kid, you know? Like, I think if you asked him sincerely and we're like, please, this is all I want in the world, please do this, he would find a way. It doesn't matter how spindly and broken his body is, and it doesn't matter if I have to like stab him in the eye like with shit beforehand, like he would find a way to do that for me, because he's an insane person who would do insane things for his child. And I support that. You know what? I support fucked up little fictional people doing fucked up little things at and for each other. And that's why Silko is solidly 15, because like, he may not physically do it, but I feel like emotionally he would find a way, and that's more important to me than the physical realism of the ask, you know? Number 14 is Caitlyn. Okay, so the thing with Caitlyn is I put her up here like reluctantly. Like, I don't like Caitlyn. I think she's like overrated as a character. The trope of like rich girl who like lives in a gilded cage and wants to like go out and explore the world and do bigger and better and more important, less shallow, frivolous things, and like whines about how like it sucks that she's privileged and like can't do stuff. I hate that trope. Like, in every single fictional medium I've encountered in, it almost never is executed in a way where I like actually relate to the character. I'm almost always like, I like don't care about you. Like, I really just don't. I know a lot of friends of mine who like love her and also just like generally love that trope and like write it themselves in their own fiction and think it's like a great trope. So it's like no shade to that. Like, if it floats your boat, that's cool. But as someone who like cannot relate to that experience at all, it like really pisses me off to see characters. That kind of character just like does like nothing for me. Like, genuinely, I'm like, I don't care about them. And then on top of that, she's like the in-universe equivalent of like a police officer, which is like, it is bonkers to me. Like, if you, to imagine that you have all of that privilege and all of that wealth and all that ability to do like literally anything you want in the world, and you're like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a cop. Like, you just like, you had already lost me, but you like particularly lost me. So like, all that to say, I loathe having to put her at 14. Like, I wish I could have her at like 25. But for the parameters of this, she's a cop. Presumably she has had to have done some sort of physical training. She has like some muscle on her bones. She's well fed. I think TLDR, as much as I wouldn't want her to do it, which is why she's not higher, I think she's very physically capable of doing it. So if we were in like a hostage situation, and the only way that we could like get the hostages out was if like someone flung me through a wall, I would happily be like, yeah, Caitlyn, I think you can do this effectively and get this shit done. But like otherwise, outside of like a do or die situation, I just don't see myself like approaching her for that kind of like interaction. I just don't think we'd get along. I think we'd probably fight like a lot. Like, we'd just like argue. It would not be fun. Like, it would not be like a bonding, like sometimes in other videos where it's like, I feel like I could have like a girls' night bonding experience with like another woman who like throws me. But with her, I feel like we would just like bicker. Like, we'd argue like bad. Like, we'd get into fights. It would not be fun. I don't want her to throw me. It's just like, I don't know, maybe she like does a career change, we can like reevaluate. But like, as of now, me and Caitlyn are just like not on the same wavelength at all, and I just like don't see that for us, you know? Number 13. Okay, this is another one where I'm like, it's the opposite of like with Caitlyn, it's like I had to put her here, but I want to put her lower. With this one, I wanted to put him higher, but I cannot in good conscience. Like, even like where I've put him is like realistically, like it's too high. It's too high. My own bias has him here. But number 13 is Victor. When I say like poor little meow meow Victor hours, oh, I love Victor. Victor is like my favorite brand of character, which is like fucked up little tragic, frail, like coughing up blood, down bad characters. Like, boys, that is my bread and butter. That shit is just like, oh, it's so good. I just like it when fictional boys are fucked up in that way. Like, you know, like just like desperate, you know, like just like really like to their core desperate, looking for an answer and will do anything for it. And so like, I was thrilled. I was over the moon when he started doing his little fucked up experiments on himself in secret. I was like, yes, yes, yes. Do it, become all fucked up and become like my favorite trope is literally like corrupted, things that die and then come back from the dead, like get like resurrected and they come back wrong, like things like that. That is my bread and butter. Shit that's like, you were a person once and something happened and now you're like wrong, like you're wrong somehow. Oh, I love that shit. And so he was doing these fucked up experiments and I was just sitting there like, yes, yes, fuck up with yourself, do some weird shit on yourself, come back, make yourself like physically healthy but wrong, like come back in a way where it's like something is off about you, something is like not correct, you are coming back like totally like fucked up in a way. I was just like so excited. And then and then fucking Sky or whatever dies and he's like, I'm never gonna do this again, I made a mistake, and he's just like content to die, and I was so bummed. I literally like, I finished Arcane and I texted my friend and I was like, I'm so bummed that he's not gonna do any more fucked up little experiments on himself. Like that was like, I was so excited and I wanted to do more. And then she was like, you don't know anything about League of Legends, do you? And I was like, no, which I don't. Like I watched Arcane for the place someone who has no familiarity with League of Legends whatsoever. So I was like, no. And she was like, just wait for season 2. And then another friend of mine was straight up like, yeah, like he in the game is like not a person really anymore. Google him, and I Googled him and I was like, nice, this is the good shit that I want. So like, sorry, that just turned into me like ranting about how much I love Victor and how much the fucked up little dude trope like is good for me. But the reason he's 13 is because I want him to be higher because he's everything. Like he's my favorite character on the show, like easily my favorite character on the show. But I just like at like the juncture of when season 1 of Arcane ends, I can't put him any higher because he's literally like dying and can like barely walk and is like coughing up blood and like he's not well. And so I feel like if I asked him to throw me through something, 1, he would probably be like, what the fuck? 2, I think if he actually like somehow agreed to do it, it would like be the last action he took in his life before he like keeled over and died. And I don't want to be responsible for that. I don't want to do that. So like, as much as I like would love to have him do it, like I want him to be able to do it like spiritually. He is already throwing me through like surfaces. I just like physically, he like at the current stage in time could not do it in a way that would like not injure him grievously and or end his life. And so I can't put him higher, but in my heart, he's number 1. Realistically though, he probably should be lower. I just like am like, sorry, the bias sometimes wins. You guys are lucky I didn't like bullshit a reason for him to be in the top 5 or even the top 10, to be honest with you. But just know this, I love Victor. I am so excited for him to just like start doing fucked up experiments on himself, and I really want him to fight Jace. Like I want him to like turn on Jace because like Jace treats him like shit. It pisses me the fuck off. I'm sorry. We're gonna get to that. Anyway, number 12 is Ambessa Medarda. I feel like I should actually probably swap 12 and 11, but I just like 11 as a character more, and so she gets to be 1 up. But so that's like Mel's mom. She's not in the show for very long, but like what we see of her, she's like a war lady and she's like a super jacked in strength, and like physical fighting seems to be like her attribute, like what she's known for. And so realistically, I was like, okay, I don't like you particularly, but you are kind of a girl boss. And you do physically have the strength where I feel like if I asked you, you wouldn't even be like, why or no. You literally would immediately like pick me up and fling me just because you think it's funny. So I had to put her there. I just like physically, I think she could do it. I just don't care for her very much. She's kind of a bitch, but like I respect that about her, and I respect that she's jacked as hell. And again, would like hurl me like through like the door, the window, the wall. All of it would shatter. I would probably go like flying and maybe like make like a dent on the ground when I hit it. Might like break my shoulder or something, and it would be totally fine. Like I'd be fine with that. Yeah, number 11 is Medarda. So like physically, like I feel like I should swap these because again, I think Mel's mom is way stronger than Mel like physically, but I just like Mel. Mel is interesting to me because I could not read her for the entirety of the show. Like I was so sure she was like manipulating Jace, like the whole show. I was like, there's no way she's legit, right? But they played it like super straight. Like by the end of it, like it just seemed like they were like legitimately in love, and I was like legitimately supposed to be like really heartbroken for like the last scene of the show because presumably like I'm just gonna assume she's dead, and like Jace is gonna have to like deal with that in the next season, and it's gonna be like some kind of turning point for him where he's gonna be like not down for peace anymore, or he's gonna have to like fight his like desire for revenge with like upholding Mel's like message of peace or whatever. Like I don't know, I feel like there's a lot to unpack there, but I just like Mel's character design was maybe her and Jinx, but I think Mel was probably my favorite in terms of like I want to look like that. Like she was just so regal and elegant, and her hair and the gold accent, she was just stunning, and I just was like, I want to look like you. And I want to look like you instinct does propel characters higher than they should be on this list. Again, the bias wins sometimes. And I feel like, yeah, like Mel obviously wasn't like as jacked as her mom, and she wasn't like a warlord, but I feel like she picked up a couple things about like defending herself and fighting. So I feel like if I asked her to throw me, like yeah, maybe she wouldn't be the best throw on the list, but I don't think she would do a bad job either. And so I don't think it's like wrong to put her as high as she is. Like maybe it's a bit biased, but she's just cool. She deserves the bias. And again, like as much as I could not read her character or what I was supposed to take out of her character, like I was like never like sure if I was supposed to trust her until the very end, where I was like, oh, I guess I was supposed to trust her. I think my issue was like, though they didn't have enough scenes of her and Jace that weren't like her trying to convince Jace to do things. And then their relationship happened like really, really fast. And so it just like read as like not genuine. So I feel like if they just like slowed things down a bit, I would have felt less like maybe she was manipulating him. Because clearly that wasn't like actually what they wanted you to think, because again, like it seemed by the end there that they wanted you to think, okay, they're in real love and stuff. But anyway, TLDR, I'm just rambling now. But yeah, I don't know. I feel that's where I want to put Mel. I feel like she could like logistically go lower probably, but I didn't want to put her lower because I think she's just so cool. Her character design is just so good, you know? It's like, look, like, you know, like I loved, in my Hades video, I talked about how much I love NYX's character design, and that propels her so high for me because I want to look like that. That's like Mel for this one. It's like, she is so stunning. I want to look like that so badly, and that's why she's as high as she is. We are finally in the top 10. So number 10 is Marcus. Again, he's an enforcer, so he's like a cop. He's just high because I feel like Again, physically, he seems like decently stacked. He could do a good job. He's an interesting character in the sense that he's like, I feel like he's the most realistic, you know, like he's a corrupt cop. He, you know, like, yeah, it is what it is. He looks out for himself. He looks out for his family. He's like not the worst, but he's also not like particularly good. Like, he just like, whatever. He's literally only in the top 10 because I feel like of all the enforcers, like I feel like he's like physically, he's an enforcer, so I feel like he's physically stronger than a lot of people on this list, including Caitlyn, who just seems like, I feel like if you put like Caitlyn and Marcus in like a physical fight, I feel like Marcus would win, which is why he's like higher than her. I just like, I don't particularly have feelings for him one way or the other. I think he's just like, he's just some guy, like whatever. I don't care, but he is strong, so he made it to the top 10. Woo, Marcus. Number 9 is Civica? I don't know how you say her name, but again, jacked as fuck. I liked that she is loyal, if she's who I think she is, because she was like Silko's like right-hand man, right? Or woman, right-hand woman. 1, respected the shit out of her loyalty. 2, she's jacked as fuck. 3, she's just cool. She has like tattoos. She looks badass. Again, I think if I asked her to do it, I would not have to convince her. There'd be no convincing necessary. She'd be so down to just like, she'd probably laugh at me, which I don't know what that would do. I think I would feel like I deserved it, to be honest with you, but she would like laugh at me, probably like pick me up by my legs and then like swing me around and then just like go. And I would definitely break my neck and die, but just know that like that was on me and she caught me slipping and that was my fault. She didn't do anything wrong. Do not prosecute her. I asked for it. I wanted to be flung like a sack of potatoes because frankly, her looking the way she does, I think she's earned it. If I die, it is what it is. I think I had a funky little time before it happened. So like, power to her. She gives me like strong Slytherin vibes, you know, like looks out for herself and her own self-interest, but like also is loyal to is loyal to what she has to be loyal to. Badass, bad bitch, love her. Number 8 is Benzo. So he's like the barkeeper. Fucking sucks that he died. He seems like a nice enough guy. Definitely, he's one that's so high on this list. Literally, he's huge. He's like a huge beefy dude. He has like, his biceps are like the size of, I feel like, my whole body. So again, I just feel like physically he would do a wonderful job. He would just be like, he would just down like a beer and then be like, all right, and roll his sleeves up and be like, come on, lass. I don't know why I made him Scottish and made him call me lass, but he would just like, again, pick me up like a sack of potatoes and just like demolish his own bar and like the next like 7 houses down. Like they would all just be flattened by the force of him like flinging me. And I just think it would be so fun. Like I just like really want that for myself, and I don't think it's a bad thing to want that for myself, you know? We all have dreams, and my dream is for someone who has very large biceps to pick me up and throw me like a sack of potatoes through several walls. And if I die, I die. I just think it would be a fun little experiment. I just like, you know, like and he's like so large that I feel like it would be like very warm to be like held in his arms in the brief moments before he like flung me. I just feel like it would be a nice little like cozy little space to like rest my head against his chest and just like wait for my inevitable like throwing. All right, number 7 is Jace. Jace is up here because like, the thing with Jace is like, I feel like Jace had potential to be my favorite on the show. Like I wanted to think Jace was hot, but his personality like turned me off. I found his personality like really insufferable. I found him okay, so here's my thing. I like, nothing riles me up more than like people who are not like unbalanced friendships. Do you know what I mean? It's the same reason I cannot get into people who ship like Geralt and Jaskier on The Witcher. Their friendship is so unbalanced that it just pisses me the fuck off. Like I love Geralt, but I hate Geralt in relation to like how he treats Jaskier. Like that's the one character flaw, is like it pisses me off so much. And so that's how I feel about Jace, is like, I feel like if Jace was like a fraction nicer to Victor, he would be like number 1 on this list. He'd be my favorite character on the show. But he just like is so shitty to Victor. He like immediately forgets Victor, even though Victor did so much for him and like stuck up for him and believed in him from like day 1. He like immediately dishes his friend and like goes after like glory and prestige and like reputation, and that pisses me the fuck off. So like realistically he could be higher, but I'm putting him as here because he just like, he pissed me off. I do think he strikes like a balance of like hot, so like physically attractive to me, but also like I think actually has the physical capabilities of like maybe not the strongest people on this list. Like I think there are people that are stronger that could do better at the throwing part, but I don't think he's like incapable of throwing me, you know? Like I think he has it in him to do a good job, and that's why I'm like willing to put him so high. As like, yeah, he's not the most jacked on this list, but he is like a strong guy. He does seem like physically pretty capable, especially like because he grew up like with the Kiermanns and kind of privileged. Like I think he does have good muscle on his bones, and he just seems like, you know, strong, stable. I'd have to convince him, which would be kind of annoying. But I think if you like framed it in a way where you're like, it's for the good of Piltover, or like it'll give you like, I don't know, clout points in society, he would do it. You know, Jace seems like a very easy guy to manipulate, which is probably why I was so willing to believe that Melvin was manipulating him, because it just seems like it wouldn't be hard to do, you know? So I feel like if I like framed it the right way, he would do the throwing thing. I could maybe like, honestly, I could frame him. I could like get him to throw me and then frame it like he did a bad thing and then get him like fired and take over his job and like ruin his life, which he would deserve because of how he treated Victor. Anyway, moving on to 6, Ekko. Ekko, character design on fucking point. I love him. He was such an adorable kid, and then when he like, grew up, badass, little fucking icon. I love Ekko. Ekko is purely up here because like I love him. I feel like he's not like probably the beefiest of the characters on the show, and like realistically could probably have been lower, but I just didn't want to put him lower because he's like so cool. He's just like, he's cool. Like that's literally it. Like my justification is he's cool enough that I would like beg him like on my knees. I'd be like, please Ekko, please, please, please throw me. Just like please, it would be fun. I feel like you'd have like some sort of gadget or something that would make him like do a better job of it. I just think it would be fun for me, you know? I just want to be his friend really badly. Like I think we would, actually no, I was gonna say I think we'd get along, but knowing how much of an apologist I am for like Jinx, we wouldn't get along. But I feel like if we didn't talk about Jinx, we'd get along really well. And I just like want to be his friend really, really badly. And I think friends throw friends through hard surfaces sometimes. I just think that's like a sign of true friendship, is like if you're not treating your friends like potato sacks sometimes, or footballs, or like just any kind of like recreational objects, are you really friends? My answer to that is no. So that's why Ekko is number 6. Number 5 is Jinx. Again, she's my second favorite character on the show after Victor. So like I wanted to realistically put her higher than this, but like I just like couldn't justify it because she's like not like, she becomes a really good fighter by the time she's an adult, but she's not like physically all that strong. She's very slim, she's very slight. Her like aptitude is more her gadgets and her like ability to like think and create and stuff. So while she's a good fighter, I don't think she's particularly like physically, like her prowess is not her physique whatsoever. So I just like don't think she would throw me very far. What she does have going for her is like, I don't think like I wouldn't even have to convince her. I think she would like honestly, like, without me even asking, probably throw me, which is like maybe a point against her because it's like, again, like I said, non-consensual throwing is not cool. But like I feel like I would be like, hey Jinx, can you throw me? And she would like treat me like a ping pong ball, and she just wouldn't stop. She just pick me up, fling me, find like a gadget to like reel me back in, throw me again, and she would just do it until I was like mush on the wall. And you know what? That would be fine. I think we all deal with trauma in our own ways. And if her way of dealing with trauma is turning me into like swatting me through a wall like a fly, it is what it is. If it makes her feel better, that's fine. She's just so cool. Again, like I want to look like her. Her hair is so cool. And her freaking pink eyes. Like, dude, I'm so sorry. By the time she like gets like, when she comes back kind of like fucked up and wrong, oh, she's so cool. The hair and the eyes and the gadgets. It's just like, she's an icon. She's a badass. Like who amongst us? We love to see it. All right, number 4 is Vi. I feel like this is controversial. Like I feel like a lot of people would put Vi higher because she is really fucking strong. Like have you seen that girl's biceps? She's jacked as hell, and she has her like big ass like hand things too that make her like even stronger. So like I feel like realistically she could arguably be higher, and she almost was number 3. It's just like I forgot about a character and then had to shift everybody down one to swap them in higher. So like she like almost made top 3. But yeah, like the thing with Vi is like she definitely could fling me. She wouldn't need convincing. She would enjoy it. She would not give a fuck. My only thing with Vi is I don't particularly think we'd, like I think we'd argue a lot. Like I think our personalities would clash really bad because again, I am a Jinx apologist. And I think she also was a Jinx apologist, but I feel like by the end of the show, she's no longer a Jinx apologist, which is like sad. Sad for her. Kind of like in my eyes, kind of like, girl. I personally don't think your sister did anything wrong. Yes, she kills people. Yes, she almost kills her girlfriend. What of it? I don't think she did anything wrong. I just think Jinx should have like exploded more people. I wouldn't have cried if she killed Caitlyn. Sorry if that makes me a bitch. But like I couldn't conceivably put Vi lower because she is fucking strong as hell. I just like also couldn't put her higher because I just think there are other characters like again from the pure like strength question, I just think there are other characters that for the parameter, like I'm not saying physically like Vi couldn't kick the asses of people who are higher up on this list in a fight. She absolutely could, but for the parameters of who do I want to throw me through a wall the most and who do I think I could do it the best, number 4 is the best she's getting. I'm sorry. So number 3 is Deckard, who's the one I had to shift everybody down to Splot for because I forgot he existed. So like Deckard before his like injections or whatever would like be solid like middle of the ground, like mid tier. But once he gets those fucked up injections and becomes like all like half monstrous, like insane, like off the shits, like on the shimmer or whatever that stuff was called, like I would definitely die. Like 100% he would not care to do this in a way that would in any way ensure my safety. But my God, that throw would be thrilling. Like I'd be hurtling through the air, I feel like, for like a full 2 minutes before I hit the ground. Cause he's like, those injections made him like off the shits insane, but like very jacked. And I think like the jacked factor beats out the like, is this safe or would he want to do it or would I want to do it factor. He just like, I just physically, I think if like Silko told him to do it, I would go flying and I would be flying for a very long time and I'm okay with that. Also, again, not to like play, like not to expose myself on main, but like I just think I hated Deckard and then he did the fucked up little injections and stopped being like kind of himself and I kind of was like, you're fucked up and I still hate you, but I'm a little interested now. I'm kind of intrigued by like what could happen next if we like encountered each other in a hallway, you know? Anyway, that's all I'm saying on that note. He's number 3, I'm sorry. I feel that's gonna be, like I feel like people are going to fight me on that, on like Deckard being 3 and Vi being 4. Like, I feel like that is an unpopular opinion that will get me like murdered. I'm sorry. I am not immune to the power of like shitty white boys. I'm sorry. Like it's my character flaw, it really is. Number 2 is Grayson. Okay, this is like personal biases once again coming through. So Grayson is like my favorite enforcer. Like I know I just like enforcers are cops, blah, 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 blah. But Grayson is such a badass and she's also voiced by Shora Agashu, who's like a Persian actress and one of the only like Persian like people I've ever seen like be successful like outside of Iran. And so I like love her and I love when she shows up in like stuff that I'm into, like I'm a fan of. And so to have her like have like such a like a pretty solid role as Grayson was just like, I was just sitting there like, I know you're a cop, but you're my mom, please adopt me. I just love her so much. And so again, like, I just love her so much. And I really want, like, I feel like, again, not to mommy issues out the ass, but like, I feel like, one, she'd be strong enough to do it. Like, she's like jacked as fuck and like has her shit together, has control over like the situation. Like, she's like, just her dominion over like the world around her, chef's kiss. But like, I just think if I asked her to do it, she'd be down, especially if I explained to her why. And then I feel like in the few moments where I was in her arms before she flung me, it would just be like getting like a warm hug from your mother. And like, you know, I wouldn't mind the pain that came from being flung through several surfaces, because isn't that what it's like to have a mother? Like, you know, there are moments where you feel warm and cuddly and at peace, and then you're suddenly like thrown through several metaphorical walls and it hurts. And then you come back for more because that's just like what it's like to have a mother. Sorry, this is getting a little personal. I should stop talking. But anyway, the point is I love Grayson. 100% my bias is why she's number 2. If it was up to me, she'd be number 1, but I didn't want to lie, you know? Like, she's strong as fuck, but the person who's number 1 is like stronger. So anyway, love her. I'm so sad she is dead because like fucking loved her. Like wanted so much more of her. She's an icon. I love her so much. Anyway, and finally, number one on my list. We've made it. Number 1 is Vander. I don't know if this would be a surprise to anybody. I just feel like Vander's whole thing is how jacked he is, right? Like he has the ability to like hoist like several full-size people like over his shoulder. His arms are like the size of people. Like I feel like a human person would be the size of one of his arms. Like he's just huge and jacked and so strong. And the only reason he fucking died was because he was willing to die to like protect his family, which is like so sweet. So I feel like if he was still with us, dude, he would do anything for his kids. So if I asked him, if I like got adopted into the fold, which I would love to, please adopt me if you're not dead. But like he would be so down to throw me, especially if I like made it like a game that I would like feel better about myself if he did it. He'd be so down because he's like a supportive dad in that way. And so I just feel like, again, not to make this about my parental issues, I just feel like I would be so warm in his arms before he threw me, and I would just be like cherishing that moment of stillness and silence and warmth. And then he would pick me up like a sack of potatoes and just send me flying. Like the entire undersea would just be like flattened, demolished. I feel like realistically he'd just fling me and I would like leave the city entirely. He's just strong like that, you know? And I respect that. He's just jacked. There's just no one I feel like realistically who I could have put higher on this list than him, you know? Just for the attribute of like, I would want him to throw me and he physically could do it the best. Like, it's no question. He's just the best. I'm sorry if that was like an anticlimactic end. I know I like went off in more detail about a lot of other characters, but it's just like, what is there to say? Big, strong dad, good at throwing, would like him to throw me. That is the end of it. Cool. I am going to wrap up this video because I have to edit it out and it's already like very late. I feel like it's probably like, I'm going to tell you guys, it's like 5 a.m. and I have to edit this video, so please kill me. With all that being said, if you wanted to fight me on these rankings, please do. I'm always happy to discuss them in the comments. If you wanted to follow me on other social media platforms, you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. If you want to hang out with me in other videos, I post new videos every Wednesday, so please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye!